There's a harsh truth most people don't want to face. The rich keep getting richer, while the poor keep struggling, no matter how hard they work. Why? It's not fate. It's not luck. It's because the rich know how to make money in silence, while the poor stay loud, in fear, in frustration, and in impatience. I've spent over 40 years in the world of finance, meeting every kind of person you can imagine. Those who started with nothing, those who lost everything, and those who quietly built their fortune. And what I've learned is simple. The difference between the rich and the poor isn't how much money they have. It's how they think, how they act, and how they stay silent when it matters most. I once met a young man named Michael. He told me he couldn't take low-class jobs. He said, "I deserve better." Years passed, and he was still broke, still waiting for something worthy. Meanwhile, his friend David washed dishes, delivered food, took night classes, and saved every dollar. 5 years later, David owned a restaurant. You see, poor people are afraid of embarrassment. Rich people are afraid of staying the same. They understand that before you can lift your head high, you must first bow it to learn. Pride doesn't feed you. Only action does. My friend Mr. Anderson runs a small diner. His place is always packed, but he still drives an old car and wears simple clothes. I once asked, "Why not expand? Why not show your success?" He smiled. "I don't need people to know I have money. I need peace of mind to build something bigger." The wealthy understand that noise attracts risk. Silence protects both your money and your freedom. I remember Sarah, a tutor from a poor neighborhood. She taught underprivileged kids for free. People laughed at her. But after a few months, parents began recommending her non-stop. She didn't advertise, she didn't brag, yet her income tripled. When you help others rise, money becomes a natural side effect, because what you truly gain is trust, credibility, and purpose, things that money alone can't buy. John, an electrician I once knew, told me this story. While fixing a washing machine, he realized no one in his apartment complex sold small electrical items. So he quietly started bringing bulbs, wires, and sockets to sell. Within a year, his side income surpassed his main job. Opportunity doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just whispers, waiting for someone observant enough to notice. Emily sold handmade products online. No live streams, no flashy sales talk, no complaints, just consistent posts, polite replies, and neatly packed boxes. For months, no one noticed. But 6 months later, her sales multiplied 5-fold. Success doesn't make noise. It grows quietly, with time and patience. I once met Rick, a locksmith who specialized only in motorcycle locks. He didn't take any other kind of work. He invested in good tools, studied every new model, and perfected one skill. Soon, everyone in the area called only him. The lesson? You don't need to be good at everything. Just be unreplaceable at one thing. Linda, an office worker I knew, wrote blog articles at night after work. Each one paid just a few dollars. She didn't stop. A year later, she got exclusive writing offers. Her side income doubled her main salary. While others used their evenings to scroll and complain, she used hers to build her future. Tom, who owned a small repair shop, used to do everything himself: fixing, cleaning, ordering, serving customers. One day, he hired someone to wash vehicles so he could focus on the actual repairs. 2 months later, his revenue nearly doubled. He told me, "I thought hiring help would cost me money. Turns out, it made me more." Those who learn to leverage other people's time will always earn more than those who try to do it all alone. Daniel, once a poor student, used to collect broken furniture, fix it, and sell it online. A year later, He opened a small store. He once told me, "What people throw away is often my opportunity." Not every chance sparkles. Sometimes it's covered in dust. Then there was Helen, a quiet cleaning lady. She always came 30 minutes early, took notes on details, and left a pleasant scent behind. One day, a client forgot an expensive watch. Helen found it and returned it. The story reached the company's CEO. She got promoted, and her husband was later hired for renovation work by the same firm. Everything changed because of a small, consistent act of integrity. I have a friend named George. He owns several rental houses, even a car, but still rides an old motorbike and wears jeans. I asked him why. He said, "People who brag about money are usually borrowing it to look rich." The rich know this truth. The fewer people who know what you have, the freer you are. Money loves silence. I once coached two young men. Both earned the same salary, around $300 a month. One spent more than he made to look successful. The other saved half and learned new skills. 2 years later, the second one tripled his income. The first one was still in debt. Wealth doesn't come from what you wear. It comes from how you think and act every day. I met a taxi driver who earned around $600 a month, but spent only $400. After 10 years, he had $20,000 saved. He smiled and said, "I don't live poor. I live smart." Wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. Brian, a poor IT student, didn't even own a laptop. He studied late in the school's computer lab, watched free tutorials, and practiced English daily. 3 years later, he landed a job with a company in Singapore, earning 10 times more than his classmates. He didn't invest in gadgets. He invested in his mindset, and it paid off more than any stock ever could. Jenny, who sold milk tea on the street, made almost no profit at first, but she kept her quality, kept her smile. A year later, she opened her first shop. Now she owns 3. Honest money takes time, but when it comes, it stays. Mark, a building security guard, greeted everyone with respect, remembered names, and helped people during the rain. One day, a company director offered him a job in logistics. His salary doubled. Big opportunities don't fall from the sky. They find those who do the small things with heart. Rich people know how to say no. No to the daily $5 coffee. No to the discount item they don't need. Money doesn't disappear loudly. It slips away quietly, through little temptations. If you want to be wealthy, learn to say no to what doesn't matter. Emma, an office worker, started selling digital files at night. At first, it brought just a few extra dollars. A year later, she launched her own course and built a steady stream of passive income. Poor people rely on one paycheck. Rich people build multiple streams, even small ones, that keep flowing. Chris, a freelance designer I knew, always delivered on time and over-delivered on quality. He never begged for clients, never promised more than he could do. Within 6 months, his clients started referring him to others. In a noisy world, the doers will always outperform the talkers. Poor people rest to escape. Rich people rest to recharge. They read, think, plan. It's in that quiet space that the million-dollar ideas are born. Resting isn't laziness. It's preparation for your next move. Almost every wealthy person I've ever met reads daily. Not to show off, but to understand, to grow, to act better. Poor people read to forget reality. Rich people read to change theirs. One right book can rewrite your financial destiny. And finally, I'll never forget Mrs. Cooper, an elderly janitor I once met. She smiled and said, "I'm not rich, but I owe no one. I have work. I have food. That's enough to be grateful for. That sentence stayed with me for years, because gratitude is the foundation of true wealth. When you're grateful, you don't envy, you don't complain, you act. And money eventually finds those who appreciate even the smallest blessings in life. Maybe right now, you have no money, no connections, no luck. But if you start living by these principles, quietly, consistently, you're already ahead of 90% of people out there who are still complaining but doing nothing. 1 year from now, you'll be different. 5 years from now, people will ask, "How did you change your life?" And all you'll need to say is this: "I didn't show off. I just worked in silence."